start it. Okay, welcome to Let's Learn. Good morning. Now I am conducting the interview of Arjun Santhosh. First I am going to ask the question, then I am going to give his feedback. Okay, Arjun, can you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Arjun Santhosh.
Hmm.
I am from Kerala. Uh, I did my mechanical engineering graduation from Srivadha College of Engineering in Kerala, and I
Hmm.
passed out in 2021. And after that, I was preparing for competitive examinations like SSC, CGL, and
Hmm.
CHSL,
Hmm.
but I was not able to crack those examinations.
Hmm.
So now I decided to join in shipping industry. So GME provides me a better opportunity to join in merchant navy as a engine cadet and further grow up from there. So I decided to
Hmm.
prepare for GME.
Okay. Why do you want to join Merchant Navy?
Because it provides me an opportunity to work as an officer in uniform, and also it is a adventurous job, and
Hmm.
it gives me a pleasure when we overcome those circumstances,
Hmm.
and it provides me an opportunity to learn a lot from. And also since I am joining it as a GME, and in the engine side there is a lot more work to do as a mechanical engineer,
Hmm.
so I
Okay.
love.
Okay, when I tell you to introduce yourself, no, first you tell your name, then then where are you from, and then where you did the engineering, means like where you completed, and that percentage, and if you have siblings or anyone, means like how many people, means like how many siblings you have, no, you would tell their where they are working professional, and then profession and your father profession. Uh, that much only, means you have to tell only this much when they ask you to introduce yourself. Then whatever questions they will ask, no, then you respond, means like if they ask why do you want to join Merchant Navy or Anglo-Eastern, like that. Okay, can you try again? Only introduction part you try again.
Okay, my name is Arjun Santhosh,
Hmm.
and I am from Kerala.
Hmm.
I did my graduation in mechanical engineering from Srivadha College of Engineering,
Hmm.
and I passed out in 2021.
Hmm.
And in my family,
How much
I have
percentage you
master,
got, that one also you tell, means like in graduation.
and I got 70 percentage in my graduation,
Hmm.
and also in 12th standard I did my 12th standard from Marthoma Senior Zone, which is also in Kerala, and I got 75 percentage, and with a PCN percentage of 70 percentage.
Hmm.
And in my family I have father, mother, and sister.
Hmm.
My father is working as an engineer,
Hmm.
and my mother is a housewife,
Hmm.
and my sister is studying in 12th standard.
Hmm.
That.
Okay, that much, this much is fine. Means again you don't tell like you are preparing those things and all, you don't know. And
Okay.
next question what he will ask is, why if you graduated on 2021, why there is a gap? So at that time you can
Okay.
tell that you are studying for the SSC CGL and stuffs like that. Okay. Then
Okay.
why do okay, why do you want to join Anglo-Eastern?
Anglo-Eastern is in the biggest company in India, and it is a management company, and it have vessels of all types.
Hmm.
So it provides me a great opportunity to work on all types of vessels, and
Okay.
so I wish.
Okay, now we will start the technical part. Can you draw the centrifugal pump and explain how the discharge pressure is created at the discharge side of centrifugal pump?
Uh, Bro, can I take pen and
Yeah,
paper?
yeah, yeah, take.
Do it invisible.
Hmm. Yeah. Can you take it up little? Huh, yeah, it's fine. Okay, explain how the discharge pressure is created at the in the centrifugal pump.
Okay. When we talk about centrifugal pump, when we start the centrifugal pump,
Hmm.
and the impeller rotates,
Hmm.
so the fluid will be transferred radially towards the discharge side of the pump.
Hmm.
So when the fluid is discharged to the discharge side of the pump, a wide space will be created around the eye of the impeller.
Hmm.
So a low pressure region will be created at the eye of the impeller.
Hmm.
So water fluid from the sun will flow through the suction pipe towards the eye of the impeller, and as the impeller is rotating, the fluid is carried. The centrifugal force will be induced to the fluid, and the fluid will be discharged radially towards the discharge side of the pump.
Hmm.
So the casing of the centrifugal pump, the volute casing of the centrifugal pump, as towards the discharge side, the area is increasing.
Hmm.
So according to equation of continuity, as the area is increasing, the velocity is reducing,
Hmm.
and the pressure is increasing.
Hmm.
So thus the fluid will be discharged at higher pressure
Okay.
through the discharge side of
Yes, proper. And can you draw the gear pump and explain how the discharge pressure is created? Hmm.
the.
Uh, you have to improve some means like see in casing and gear no their clearance will not be that much as it is as you are
Oh, okay.
showing in the in this,
Okay.
and
Okay.
in gear also you properly you draw the means like it is a spur teeth, right? Spur gear, so you have to draw the gear properly. Okay. And
Okay.
you have to show the arrows means like how the fluid is flowing and in which direction, and arrow mark is also missing, so it is just looks like a rough gauge very you have to draw rough but not this much also. And driver and
Okay.
follower and the arrow direction of the how the driver gear is rotating and follower gear is rotating, that also is missing. And pressure relief wall is present, rest all is correct, other than only uh, you have to improve the diagram. And
Okay. Okay.
and explain how the discharge pressure is created in gear pump.
Uh, in gear pump, there is a uh, driven gear and follower gear.
Hmm.
So in gear pump, on suction side, the gears will be moving away from each other.
Hmm.
And in the discharge side, the teeth of the gear will be following into the mesh at
Hmm.
the discharge side of it.
Hmm.
So when in the suction side, as the gears are moving away from each other, a low pressure region is created due to the extra volume inside the casing of the pump.
Hmm.
So the fluid will enter into the pump, and in through the cavities in between the teeth,
Hmm.
the fluid is carried towards the discharge pump.
Hmm.
And at the discharge side, when the teeth fall into the mesh,
Hmm.
the fluid is displaced from the gear at higher pressure in the
Hmm.
discharge side.
Hmm. Okay. I will give the feedback at last. Then explain VCRS cycle.
The VCRS cycle consists of compressor,
Hmm.
condenser,
Hmm.
expansion valve,
Hmm.
and evaporator.
Okay.
In in the compressor, uh, the refrigerant will be discharged at a higher pressure, and this vapor compressor and vapor refrigerant
Hmm.
is condensed to liquid state
Hmm.
inside the condenser, and this liquid refrigerant is passed through the expansion valve
Hmm.
where its pressure and temperature is also reduced,
Hmm.
and this liquid refrigerant is again transferred to the evaporator. In the evaporator, it gets evaporated,
Hmm.
and this vapor refrigerant is again supplied to the compressor.
Okay. And what will be the temperature of evaporator in domestic refrigerator?
Minus 28 degrees Celsius.
Hmm. Okay. Then can you list out the boiler mountings?
The boiler mountings are uh, gauge glass,
Hmm.
then feed check valve,
Hmm.
uh, blow down valve,
Hmm.
scum valve,
Hmm.
then pressure gauge,
Hmm.
uh, and then Vencoke is provided.
Hmm.
Um, then fusible plug is there,
Hmm.
and safety bar.
Hmm. Okay. How many you told? Means around six.
Eight.
Eight. There are total 10 it is there. You missed something. Means the scum valve you missed. Low water level shutdown. And steam stop valve you told?
No, steam stop valve. I
Yeah.
missed steam stop.
This means you should not miss anything. When he asking to list, no, you should not miss anything actually. So,
Okay.
and can you explain Faraday's law?
According to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, state that
Mm-hmm.
uh, when the magnetic flux linked with a coil changes, an
Mm-hmm.
EMF will be induced into the coil.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Faraday's law, second law of electromagnetic induction,
Mm-hmm.
the magnitude of EMF induced
Mm-hmm.
will depends upon the rate of change of flux linked with the coil.
Hmm. Uh, what are the difference between two stroke and four stroke?
In two-stroke engine, one complete revolution of the crankshaft will provide a power stroke,
Hmm.
but in four-stroke, two complete revolution of the crankshaft will provide a
Hmm.
power stroke.
Hmm.
Um, in two-stroke engine, the crankshaft and camshaft will rotate and at same speed.
Hmm.
In four-stroke engine, the crankshaft will rotate two times faster than the camshaft.
Hmm.
Also, in crankshaft, in two-stroke engine, uh, in two-stroke engine, the horsepower generated by the two-stroke engine will be two times more than
Hmm.
the four-stroke engine.
Hmm.
Uh, Also, the flywheel in the two-stroke engine is smaller,
Hmm.
but in four-stroke engine, it is larger because in four-stroke engine the torque produced is irregular.
Hmm.
So in two-stroke engine,
Yeah.
we have heavier flywheel,
Okay.
and then in two-stroke engine, more noise is produced in two-stroke engine.
Hmm.
Four-stroke engine have less noise, and weight to power ratio is more in two-stroke engine. Weight
Hmm.
to power ratio is less in four-stroke engine.
Okay. What is the difference between the centrifugal pump and the reciprocating pump?
In centrifugal pump is a rotodynamic pump. In centrifugal pump, the fluid will be discharged at higher pressure due to the centrifugal force induced to the fluid by the impeller.
Hmm.
But in case of a reciprocating pump,
Hmm.
the fluid is drawn into the cavity inside the pump,
Hmm.
and it is displaced out of that cavity at higher pressure. In
Yeah.
reciprocating.
Only one difference. Any other difference you can recall?
Okay. Then centrifugal pump, centrifugal pump, we don't need relief valve
Hmm.
because the maximum pressure developed inside the centrifugal pump will not be much more than the working pressure of the centrifugal pump.
Hmm.
But in gear pump, we need uh, relief valve.
No, not gear pump. Reciprocating pump. I told.
Okay, in reciprocating pump, we need relief valve.
Hmm.
Then in centrifugal pump, priming is required in centrifugal pump,
Hmm.
but in reciprocating pump, it can pump air also.
Hmm.
So it is a self-priming pump, so
Hmm.
we don't need. external priming sources.
Hmm.
Then centrifugal pumps are used at the regions where we need a large amount of flow.
Hmm.
Is but a reciprocating pump can be used at the regions where high pressure is needed,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it provides a low quantity of flow compared to centrifugal pump.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. Uh, what is Archimedes principle?
Archimedes' principle says that when a body is immersed into a fluid, then the buoyant force acting on the object, uh, will be equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object.
Hmm. Hmm. And Pascal's law?
Pascal's law states that when when a force is applied to an incompressible fluid in confined space, it will be transmitted equally in all directions.
Hmm.
And hydraulic jack will be working on the principle of Pascal's.
Okay, I will tell the feedback, means whatever you told. In the centrifugal
Oh.
pump is there, no? When the negative pressure is created at an eye of an impeller, after that whenever it will suck the fluid, the fluid enters through the eye of an impeller. Okay. After entering
Uh,
into the eye of an impeller, the kinetic energy will be imparted by the impeller on the fluid. Then the fluid comes out through the guide vanes and enter the casing. Okay, so this much amount of detailing is required, which is lacking. Okay, after entering the casing, then you told everything proper, means the casing is a designed area increasing. Instead of area you tell volume, because one guy got rejected because he told an area. So volume will be increasing towards the discharge side of the pump. So because of that the kinetic energy is transformed into the pressure energy, and this is how the pressure is created at the discharge side. So this is the same thing I told in the Brigance interview at my turn.
oh,
So this is what the wrong you went. And in the gear pump you told everything proper, but when it enters when it is going to discharge, no, so it will gears will come into the mesh and volume is decreasing, and because of that
yes.
because the volume decreases, pressure increases. So this is how the pressure is created at the discharge side. Only this thing was wrong, means like volume is increasing you didn't told. So that one you keep in mind. Rest and all it is fine, everything is proper. And what is
So
the
okay, bro, in gear pump, when the teeth fall into the mesh, the volume is reducing at the discharge side, right?
volume is reducing and the pressure increases, and this is how pressure is created. And what is positive displacement principle? I am asking you.
Positive displacement principle.
Yeah.
Uh, Sorry, bro, I don't.
Okay, I will tell. Means a positive displacement principle means despite in variation of the pressure at the discharge side, the flow rate will remain constant. Means in a gear pump, gear will be, as long as gear will be rotating, no, the it is going to pump the same amount of fluid at the discharge side at the constant rate. So this is the positive displacement principle in gear pump. And when I asked you the difference between the centrifugal pump and reciprocating pump, no, reciprocating pump is not like a, exactly like a positive displacement principle, because it is a reverse piston movement. Means piston is it is coming, no, coming to and fro. So whenever a piston is coming to and fro, the flow is fluctuating. It is not at the constant rate. So because of
Okay,
that, the
okay.
air blower is used. You know, air blower in a reciprocating pump.
Yes.
Because to maintain the constant rate of the flow, the air blower is used. Whenever the flow is less, no, air blower provides some amount of water. Whenever the flow rate is more, it is going to going inside the air blower, and it is getting reserved. Whenever the flow is decreases at the discharge side, it will send some flow, like that. So air blower is used to maintain the constant rate. So it is not like a exactly like a positive displacement principle if there is no air blower. But gear pump is a
Okay.
positive displacement pump, because as a driver and follower gear keeps on rotating, right? So because of that, it is a positive displacement principle. So next what I asked in VCRS. In VCRS, no, there is a lack of detailing. You are not. I will answer the question. You just listen it. VCRS cycle starting from the compressor. The saturated vapor enters inside the compressor at the low pressure and low temperature, and it is compressed to the superheated vapor, and the superheated vapor will enters into the condenser. There is a seawater which is going to condense the incoming superheated vapor from the compressor. Then when it enters the isobaric condensation will be taking place. Then it is transformed into the high pressure and slightly low temperature saturated liquid, and then saturated liquid enters into the dryer. If there is any moisture content in the refrigerant, it will be removed by the because in a dryer there is a silica gel. Then it enters into the thermostatic expansion valve, and after thermostatic expansion valve, the saturated liquid will be converted into the saturated liquid plus vapor, and then it enters into the evaporator. Then in evaporator, and after thermostatic expansion valve, it is a high pressure and high temperature saturated liquid is transformed into the saturated liquid plus vapor with a low pressure and low temperature. Then it enters into the evaporator. In evaporator, it will absorb the heat in the from the refrigerated space, and the saturated liquid plus vapor is transformed into the vapor, saturated vapor. Then it enters into a sensing bulb. Sensing bulb senses the refrigerant temperature. If the temperature is more, then with the help of the capillary tube, it sends the signal to the thermostatic expansion valve. If the temperature is more, then it will send the signal, and then orifice will open more, because so that the more amount of refrigerant can flow through the evaporator, and it can maintain the desired temperature. If the temperature is less in the less then the required temperature, then it sends the signal, and orifice will constrict, and so that the temperature is maintained to the required value. So this much amount of detailing is required, which is lacking in your explanation. Okay. And then you told that I asked you the temperature of evaporator in the domestic refrigerator. It is not like minus 28 only. If you use the different refrigerant, then the temperature will varies. So this is so you cannot say the exact value in the temperature of evaporator. So every refrigerant has a different temperature of evaporator. So you cannot say that. Okay. Then in the later part of question, you missed the two things in boiler mountings. So you have to learn it. And then I asked you the difference between the centrifugal pump and difference between the centrifugal pump and reciprocating pump. In that, whatever you told is proper, but you can add more. Means like you can add that one, means it is a reverse piston movement. The principle you can tell rotodynamic principle, and this one is a reverse piston movement. And then air blower is used, and centrifugal pump can only pump the water, and reciprocating pump can pump the any type of the fluid, like that. And maintenance is required in reciprocating pump because of the friction will be there, no, in a piston. So it will get friction, and there is a chances of wearing out, and and various chemicals also it will transfer, no. So it can damage the piston. So regular maintenance is required for the reciprocating pump, and centrifugal pump doesn't require as more attention like you give to the reciprocating pump. So this one you can tell. Okay, can you tell the safety devices of refrigeration? Safety devices.
Safety devices in refrigerations are low lube pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
then low suction pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
high discharge pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
then uh, discharge pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
then relief valve is
In the refrigeration, no? Okay, okay, correct.
uh,
Hmm.
relief valve is used.
Hmm.
And these all are
And cool water low pressure trip is there, oil heater is there, and bursting disc is there. So you have to tell every means at least six if you have to tell means these are important means like
Oh,
oil heater, cooling water, low pressure trip, bursting disc, and high pressure cutout, low pressure cutout, and low bulb pressure trip. You told only three, and then
okay.
another three. Yeah, tell me.
Bro, bursting disk. Oh, okay, okay. Since
Yeah, compressor is
I
used,
thought
na.
that.
So
Yeah, in compressor. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
and can you tell auxiliary engine safety devices?
Auxiliary engine safety devices consist of
Hmm.
um, low low lube oil pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
low suction pressure cutoff,
Hmm.
uh, then fuel oil leakage alarm,
Hmm.
then jacket water high temperature drip,
Hmm.
mm, jacket water high temperature drip.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
uh, in this also some you have missed like overspeed trip and crankcase relief valve and a high exhaust gas temperature that that trip
yes,
also.
yes.
So you just recall this. Rest all is fine. Rest all is you are telling properly. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. No. What centrifugal? What happens if air enters inside the centrifugal pump?
If air enters into the centrifugal pump, since air is compressible,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, air is compressible
Hmm.
and it compresses and the centrifugal force will
Hmm.
be reduced
Hmm.
since the density of the air is much lower than
Hmm.
and that of water.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the centrifugal force will be reduced and the suction pressure will also be reduced. So the fluid will not enter into the pump
Hmm. Hmm.
and the impeller will be rotating in dry state and the overheating will occur inside the pump
Hmm. Hmm.
and it will lead to the damage of the pump.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So not about it, we need priming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. And yeah, and there will be if there and air density is 1,000 times less than the water density, then the suction capacity also will get reduced. Because of that, efficiency will decreases, and then whenever it will dry run, there is a chances that after some time the motor gets heated. No, there will be a damage. Winding will might get damaged. So
Right.
this also you can tell. Okay. Then restore is fine. Only you practice those mistakes whichever I have highlighted, no? Only that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.